Hello everyone, I'm Frances with your Book of Memories, and I'll be teaching you how to make this super sweet mini photo album using simple supplies you already have at home. I want to walk you through this super sweet book so you know what we will be making today. I've created some cute little rolled up paper roses and used some Crayola markers. I wrote my own little saying right here and stuck it right on the front and created a cute little Polaroid picture just with some doodles, a couple banner pieces, and I made some polka dot paper. I created the cover 100% out of a cereal box, so let's look inside and kind of see all the little fun bits. Right here we've got a nice large pocket, holds a cute little photo spot, friends and family, whatever you want to put in here. Cute little story you can write here on the tag. How fun is that? A nice little photo mat right here for a little picture I indicated with a little doodle of a camera right there. And I'm going to teach you how to doodle your own little design paper. We're going to be making some rose paper, some leaves, writing out some words. Look how sweet. This is a cute little angled pocket. Got a fun little Polaroid picture in there. Tucks right back inside here. And we got another picture space there. And then this whole page flips. A file folder style pocket with some more words and a doodle. And then there's a fun little booklet inside. Tons of little fun picture space. A super sweet gift for anybody special that you wanted to make this for. And it's stuff you already have at home. And look at this. A nice little pouch on the back with another tag. And a nice fun booklet. And you don't have to doodle on this little camera indicator if you don't want. We're just going to stick some fun family photos in here. Or friend pictures, fun places we've been. And however you want to do it, it's your book. And you can make it your way. And that's why it's going to be so special to make this together. Because this is your art and you can express yourself in any way that you want. And we're here to play and have fun. And all you'll need for this is some copy paper, some scissors, favorite colors from your marker stash. I'm using 4, and then even a smaller one. If you have a big one, that'll work too. A pencil, a glue stick, and some Elmer's glue. And last but not least, some cereal boxes. So even if you don't have cereal boxes, you can use a marker box, you can use cracker boxes. I'm going to be making a nice sturdy cover, just like the ones you feel in a library. So just like a library book. So first things first, I'm going to make a little bit of room on my desk here and bring in one of those nice big cereal boxes. And also I've got about 20 sheets here. I'll link all the tools and supplies I used for this tutorial down in the description so you can know the quantity. But I've just got 20 sheets of copy printer paper, just simple printer paper. And then now I've got enough room to start working on this front cover box, the construction and the base sturdiness of this book. So first, I'm going to actually find the part of the cereal box that's got this little ridge here. You'll notice that's how it folded over and how they constructed it in the factory. I'm just going to do a nice little rip here to get this guy opened up nice and flat. Now, if you don't see one of these on yours, you could just take some scissors and cut it open. But most standard boxes have this. Be able to pop that open and open it from the bottom. So now we have this nice big area to work with here. And you'll notice we've got all these tabs at the top. I'm going to cut all those out as well as the bottom. But I'm going to leave this space in here and this one, the sides of the box. So first, I'm going to start working on cutting all these funny looking little pieces off. And I'm just going to follow that line that's on the box. We'll use that as a guideline. Perfect. I've got all those funny little pieces off of this box, and now I've got like this really big opening. And I've also got a last little flap here on the edge, so careful, watch your fingers. I'm just going to snip this little guy off too. If you want to be safer, just hold the big portion of the box with your hand and stay away from the scissors. Perfect. Now we've got this totally 100% ready to go. Now from here, you'll notice we've got a couple small pieces. So we've got this little rectangle in here, and then this rectangle. I'm going to cut those out right on the line. As straight as I can get it. Remember, this is handmade, so things are going to be a little wonky here and there, but that's the fun of it. We're just here to cut things out and have a good time. Now, normally when I make a book, instead of stacking these together, I would use a very quality piece of chipboard, how I typically normally make these books. So this is medium weight chipboard. It's very thick, but we're going to imitate that with layers of cereal boxes that all come together, and you'll start to see it come together pretty soon here. So now we've got 2 of these and 2 of these. We're gonna do this 2 more times. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my other cereal boxes until I've got 6 of these big pieces and 6 of these. So here I go. Just careful not to rip your nice big faces of the cereal boxes and most of the sides. Once we have it all together, it will look super awesome. I'm just finishing up my last little cereal box, and now I've got a total of 6 very large pieces from the face of our cereal boxes. So there's 6 right here. And then I've got 6 of the sides of the cereal boxes. And it's okay again if they're a little bit banged up. We'll fix them up as we continue. Now the next step is to set everything up just off to the side, and let's work on one of these nice big pieces. So I'm going to grab mine, and I'm actually going to fold it in half, straight as I can get it, make a nice crease mark, and then I'm going to come back and actually cut along that line. Now if you have a cereal box that's a bit smaller, go ahead and start with your smallest one first so you can get the nice size that we're going to continue doing. So for me it was the Annie's chocolate that was a bit smaller than the rest, so I'm going to go ahead and fold him in half. And that'll give me my measurement for the width of my book. So the other 2, I'll trim to match the smallest size. So find your smallest cereal box, big pieces, and fold those in half long ways first, so we can match them up. See how this one's bigger? I'm gonna stick this on top and just trim the excess off once we get to it. We're gonna be basing our book off the size from the smallest cereal box. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to get the Annie's, fold her in half, make a guideline, and then cut on that guideline. I'm going to repeat that with every box. So I'll keep the smaller ones over here in their own pile for now. So I'm going to keep folding and trimming. And then we'll have a total of 8 of these smaller pieces. And you can also unbend it so you can work with it a little bit easier. You can see your line nice and straight. And there we go. So now I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. I actually ended up having more than I needed, so I'm gonna end up using these for my spine instead of these longer rectangular pieces, but you can save these for another project. I didn't realize how many pieces I could get out of here. So let's first start out with one nice piece. Just one. We're gonna shape him up the way that we want him to be. So we're just gonna try to get him nice and straight. If you feel he's a little crooked, go ahead and straighten him out a tiny bit, not too much, because we don't want to take off too much of him. And if you're happy with them, perfect. Let's go ahead and get a nice white piece of paper for a background gluing area. I'm going to set this facing upward where I see the packaging, so all the colors. I'm going to face that up, and that's the side that I'm going to put the glue on. So I got my little glue here. I'm going to coat this entire thing with some nice glue here. And I'm going to stick a cereal box on top of the other one. It might slip around a little bit, but just give it a nice little rub and line them up as best you can. Once you have them lined up, you could turn them over and kind of see the imperfections and come back and trim those away to match them up with the first piece. Now I'm going to grab a marker to kind of push it. Usually I would use a tool for my paper. This is a bone folder right here to help us press things down. But for this class, I'm just going to use like a nice little marker to kind of push this on. So here comes another one. A total of 4 of these wonderful little cereal box pieces are going to come together to make one front cover. So we're making it really super thick. So it's a nice thick book, just like a library book. So now that you have this, I'm going to add glue again and stick the next piece on. Now I have this underneath me just in case I get a little bit of glue on my work surface. Making sure I'm getting the edges nice and good there. Here comes another piece. I'm going to make sure the cardboard now is facing us. Stick that guy on top of him. Kind of smush it on. Just get it on there real good. You can start to feel this thing getting a little bit thicker. And as it dries, it'll get nice and hard. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over now and correct it. You can see that excess hanging off because it's a different size. We're just shaping it up to that very first one that we made nice and good as we can get it. Just shaping it up. Okay, now we got a thicker piece. Here comes this last one. He's going to get stuck right on here. Straight as I can. Coming back with the marker. Really pushing it on. Turning it over where I can see the pieces that are hanging off. You can kind of see that colorful packaging of the cereal box underneath. And now we have this awesome little piece. So once he dries, he's going to be nice and sturdy, just like that original chipboard piece that I use for all the official tools. And I'll leave the official tools class down in the description if you want to learn to make this particular little album out of all the official tools. So great, I'm going to set him off to the side. I'm going to repeat the same thing with the next 4 to get this again. So now, but this time, I'm going to take this guy because I want the same exact size. I'm going to take him and set him on here to see kind of where I need to trim. So I'm going to come in with my pencil, kind of trace around him. He seems to be pretty much the same size since he came out of the same cereal box. And I'm going to trim right on that little stencil that I just made. Like a little tracing mark. Stack them, kind of look, yep, those are the same size. So now this thick one I'm going to set off to the side. And now I have a good model to work with since I traced him from the original thick piece. And I'm going to repeat the steps. Adding glue until I have 4 of these awesome pieces stuck on here. And I'm going to make sure the cardboard sides are facing outward. And I'm going to put the glue on my very first piece on the colorful side of the cereal box. I'm going to line up these little corners here. Press it down. I can kind of twist my piece. I can kind of push it with my thumbs here and line it up. Flip it over onto the back end and trim off the excess pieces that don't match up. So we have a nice even piece of chipboard. We're making our own chipboard without having to go to the store. So now both sides are like this and all the rest are going to be stuck here and here. Colorful side down. Here I go. Getting those edges really, really good with glue. I want to make sure this gets stuck down nice and good. Corner to corner, edge to edge. You could do this. You are doing fantastic. Push it down. It's thin enough. That's why I'm doing this. Flip it over to make corrections. Last layer right here. You're getting the hang of this now. Trimming off the excess overhang. Beautiful. And it's okay if it's a little wiggly and wobbly. Once we construct this book together, nobody's going to notice. It's going to turn out fantastic. I'm just going to correct it a little bit with my scissors there. Clean off my work surface. You'll start to feel this guy stiffening up since he's already dry. Hear that? Nice and thick. how awesome. Now I've got 2 front and back cover pieces that we just made that are 4 times thicker than they were when we first got them. See that? How awesome. We're going to repeat that one more time to make a nice skinny little piece. So I'm going to bring in these other ones here. Now to determine the spine size, I'm just going to get about 2 fingers worth of a width. If you're about 10 years old, you might need 3 fingers. So I'm going to do 2 fingers. And then I'm going to make a mark with my pencil right here, just at the edge of my finger. And I'm going to use this as a guide. I'm going to get the left side of this piece and line it up on that pencil. And then I'm going to use this like it's a ruler, nice and straight. Draw a little line right there. And cut along that line. Nice and straight as we can get it. I'm going to cut off this funny little spot at the bottom. Make sure it's the same height as our 2 nice thick cover pieces that we just made. So I'm going to check the height, and if I have to trim a little bit, I'm going to make it the same size. So they're just as tall as each other. And that looks good. So now, you guessed it, I'm going to make a little bit of room here. I'm going to do the same thing to this guy that we did to the other ones. So I'm going to get some glue. And it doesn't matter the size of this next piece. It could be the piece that we just trimmed. Kind of get rid of the bottom here. I'm going to get this corner lined up. Push them down. Press them on there. Come back on the other side because you could see the back, and then trim an appropriate shape out of him. Because we're just trying to make everything layered up. Nice and straight as we can get it. If you see a little bit more, go ahead and work with it. Okay, now it's 2 times thick. We need 2 more. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue on him again. Again, making sure the cardboard side is facing us. This dull gray or brown, whatever color it is that you have at home. I'm going to face this downward like this. Line it up on our piece. Press it. Flip it and cut it. Now he's too tiny, so I'm going to put him in the recycle bin. Come back with another bit of glue here, making sure I'm getting the edges good. Now I have a whole nother piece, since we have a ton to work with here, sticking him on, right on top. Just like we have been. Pushing them on. Flipping them and trimming them. See, I've got excess here at the bottom. For slipping and sliding, just correct them and trim it up. You are doing fantastic. You're going to make such a beautiful little book. There it is. Nice thick little piece here. How fantastic are we? Now I've got a thick front and back cover and a spine, just like this book. That's what it's made of. Back cover, front cover, and a spine. Now your table's probably looking a little on the messy side. I took some time to kind of clean it up. And now you even have extra pieces if you ended up grabbing 3 cereal boxes. You've got extra pieces for other smaller projects if you wanted to use this same technique and make something on your own. Let's now start wrapping our cover so we can have a book form. So I'm actually going to get this chipboard, just one big piece. I'm going to take the other ones, make myself some room, slide them up at the top. And I'm going to bring in a nice piece of paper out of my stack over here. And I'm going to put it right down on my work surface. And this guy is going to go on here. So I've got one piece of paper going tall up and down, and then I'm going to put some glue on one side of this cardboard. This wonderful chipboard piece that we made. I'm just going to put some good amount of glue on here. On the edges, perfect. And then I'm going to flip it over. Got the glue here. Flip it over, and I'm going to stick it. You might need to blow your surface a little bit. I'm going to stick it right down here where I've got equal spacing top, bottom, and left and right. Now it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. We can always fix this. Once I give it a nice push, I'm going to flip it onto the other side. And I'm going to come back with my little marker, and I'm going to get the wrinkles out. So I'm going to go towards myself and towards the outside corners. So I'm going to rotate my book and go from the middle out. Middle out. Look at us. Making a beautiful little book here. Trying to get those wrinkles to disappear. And you could do this as many or as few times as you'd like. Absolutely love it. I'm going to give it a nice flip. And now we're going to start wrapping this paper onto the book. I need to cut this at an angle, but we can't get too close to the chipboard. So I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to kind of find my corner, but I'm going to go away from it quite a bit. You see how I'm pretty far? I'm going to cut at an angle. It could be a nice big piece here. Because if I were to cut that too close, then this corner will show. So let's go ahead and repeat that again on every corner. Make sure you leave a nice big gap. Nice big gap right there. Maybe the width of your scissors. So you could put your scissors here, and however thick your scissors are, maybe on the more wide part of your scissors, just imagine a line going just like that. Nice big space away from that corner. Now that you have that, I'm going to get another piece of paper for a little bit of glue activity. I'm going to set this on top of that paper so I can add some glue to this flap. But first, I'm going to pre-fold it by just kind of folding it a little bit like this. Opening it back up, coming back with the glue stick, and getting glue on this. So I'm going to go away from myself so I don't wrinkle the page. See how I'm pushing away? Perfect. Now I'm going to grab the center and just pull it over. Go towards the corners. Start in the middle first, then go towards the corners. Try to get the wrinkles out. There we go. Now I'm going to repeat that same thing on this side. See how I'm getting under? My thumbs are towards my body. I'm standing up over my table. Give it a nice little push. And gluing away from me so I don't wrinkle it too bad. Pull towards the center. Don't pull too hard. You might rip your paper. And there you have it. Look at that. Cute. Now, with your finger, come in on one of your corners and get your thumb, little fingernail here, and push that in. See how I did that? Just kind of push this in. And do the same thing at the bottom. Just push it in. Real easy. I'm going to rotate, do the same thing to the other side. Just kind of push it. And then again, fold it like this. And you can do the same thing on the other side. Fold it like this, get our paper underneath. And then get some glue on here. And I'm going to fold them over. Center down first, working towards the corners. Give a nice press with the marker. And repeat the same thing on this side. Here we go. Pulling down center first, out towards the corners. Using the marker to kind of press it down. And now we've got a nice wrapped book cover right here. You are doing awesome. I'm going to repeat that same exact thing with this one. So if you want to rewind the video and see how it was done again, you can do that right now. Awesome, I just got done creating two little cover pieces here. They're nice and dry now, so this is working out beautiful. Now we've got the spine to do. So let's go ahead and set these awesome cover pieces off to the side. You're doing great. Let's get out another piece of copy paper right here. And I'm going to set this one right about here where I've got more distance on the sides than I do the top. So I've got a smaller distance on the top and bottom. So I'm cutting out just about a size like this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. We won't see the pencil line, so I'm just going to snip it. Then once you've got your smaller piece of paper, you can go ahead and add a little bit of glue to this guy. Get those edges real nice, just like we have been doing. Then I'm going to turn it over and put it right in the middle. Same space here, as here, same space on the left and right. Stick them, flip them, and push them on. Perfect. So I'm going to get a nice glue surface again, the glue stick, and I'm going to add glue right at the top, just like this. And then I'm going to fold this over on top, nice and straight. Everything's just going to come over just like this. And I'm going to push in with my fingers, just like that. See how that kind of just made a little fold right here? Paper's flexible, believe it or not. Look at that. I'm going to do the same thing to this other end. You can even pre-fold it if you want. Adding a little bit of glue inside here. Folding it onto the spine in the center. Straight across. Kind of press that paper. Crease it. Push it in. Beautiful. Now that you have that, let's go ahead and fold this over to where this flap is coming like this. And then same thing to the other side, fold this over and push it down. So now we've got something that looks like this. Now this is going to be glued on the inside of these two pieces. So let's first start with one. So I'm going to attach glue here on the left side one. See this? I'm going to put glue here, flip it, and line this edge with this edge. So let's do it. It's open. I'm closing the left side flap, adding some glue on top. Good amount of glue here. Now that this part is gluey, I'm going to flip it like this and line this edge. Make sure you're seeing the inside of this. We don't want to be on this side. We want to be on this side, seeing the inner workings. See all our angles here? And this one looks like this. That one's going to come down. This edge is going to meet the other edge. Once those edges are meeting each other nicely and you straighten everything out, give it a nice push. Open it up and then fix your little wrinkles in here. Usually we would be using cardstock, so much thicker paper. You won't have any wrinkle problems. Cardstock looks like this. It's a lot stiffer and sounds a bit thicker, of course, and it is. So it's a lot more sturdy, and I normally wouldn't be using glue like this. I will leave a tutorial again below that I use official tools. Normally I would use a dry adhesive, double-sided tape like this, and we wouldn't have any wrinkle problems or thin paper issues with using those. But for now, I'm just going to use what we have at home. So I'm going to go ahead and press that on, and now this extra flap from the spine, I'm going to push like this. Make sure I can crease it pretty good here. And then I'm going to come back with this next piece. Make sure I'm seeing this. He's going to get flipped over and lined up with that edge. You see that? So this is going to come on like this. So I'm going to put some glue on this flap. I'm going to flip him, get glue all on top of him. And then I'm not going to see this anymore because I'm going to flip it towards itself. So these two pieces are going to be looking at each other. This edge meets with the edge of the spine right here. Making sure my book is nice and lined up on both sides. Push it on, open it, and press with the marker again. Nice press. Now I'm going to come back with an extra piece of paper. Cover this up. I'm going to line this up with that one piece of paper that was under. I'm going to get my pencil and kind of make a horizontal mark where I want to trim the bottom and trim the top. Okay, so I'm going to trim in this direction. So I'm going to get my scissors. Now we have another piece we could stick on top of here. I'm going to flip that over so you don't see my pencil lines. Now I'm going to add glue all in this whole area. Just right here. Tons of it. Good amount of it right here. On the top and the edges and the side, staying within this portion. Beautiful. I'm going to come back and stick this piece on. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just playing. You can always trim off if there's any overhang. Come back with the awesome marker burnishing friend and push it on. Push it on really good. Then you can get the edge of your marker here and lift this cover as you push this in. See how we're just kind of pushing that paper into the spaces? I'm going to flip it again. Get that marker, just kind of using the edge of this guy. Right in here, folding it up. Now we just made a super cute little chipboard book. Look how awesome. This turned out super great. Now if you notice you got a little bit of overhang here, you can always turn your book over the other way and gently make sure you only trim off the excess of the paper that you just stuck on and that you're not trimming the cardboard, the chipboard I mean. And there you have it. Look at us. Now we can start building all the little interactive pages. So let's go ahead and set our cute little book covers off to the side so we can start working on the interior. Now I would like for us to make this pocket, a tag, this little piece, and the photo mat. So we'll make the base first and then we'll come back and make our decorative paper. So I'm going to go in my stack of copy paper. Now I've got it going in this direction, long ways left and right. I'm going to fold it like a hot dog, like the way they say. So I'm going to take the bottom end and match the top two corners with each other. Press in the center, work towards the outside, kind of like just making a paper airplane. And then this is the height of the pocket. See how this size is the same as this pocket? Now from here, I don't need my pocket to be this long. So I'll need to trim it with my scissors. But first I'm going to get my pencil and I'm actually going to make it slightly bigger because I want to make a flap that goes under. And you could do this to your book cover as well. So let's just go ahead and get out a book cover in front of us, the one that you have. So you could see this crease mark here and the edge of your cover. Let's go ahead and put our pocket, see how it's long going like this? Put our pocket here and imagine a little bit extra, about 1 finger width, and then 2 finger widths extra. Then let's follow this line that is the cover that goes down. That's where we need to cut. So right here on that left portion of the spine, this invisible line, we're just going to mark right here. We're going to cut up. Perfect. Now we've got overlapping this way from this line and overlapping this way from the edge of the cover. From there, I'm just going to lay my pocket on where I've got the folded edge, just so it's a bit easier to slip our pieces in. The folded edge is at the top. I'm just going to remember that. Now I'm going to make a little mark here and here. And then I'm going to fold on that little pencil mark and make sure it's nice and straight on the back. I'm just going to crease it and make the flap the same size as best I can get it. This whole thing looks the same all the way through. If it's a little bit crooked, that's okay. Find the other little line we made. Crease it on that. Usually we would use a scoreboard, but we're just going to use our fingers and a pencil. I'm going to make it nice and straight. It's okay if both flaps look different. See how we have these two flaps now? This is going to go on top of here, like this. How cute. Now if your pocket is a little bit longer than you want, you could trim one long edge. I'm just going to trim off a tiny bit, just like about right there. I've still got this pocket formation happening. We're going to attach glue on here, here, and the bottom. I'm going to unfold it now. Just make sure your folded edge is the top part of the pocket. That way it's easy to slip things in and out. But if you stick it on the other way, that's okay too. So I'm going to get my little glue station situated. I'm going to open it up, get my glue stick, and we're folding it up just to make it a little bit thicker of a piece of paper. Remember when I told you we would normally use cardstock because it's thicker paper, but we're just using what we have at home and we can still make a fantastic, beautiful, fun book. Look at us go. You are doing marvelous. I'm going to fold this over and stick that on. Give it a nice press with the marker again. And now I'm going to find that folded edge. Here it is. That's going to be my top of my pocket. So I'm going to put the folded edge towards the top. Now I'm going to fold these in just like we did before. And I'm going to add glue on the sides of the flaps, right here. And a little bit at the bottom, just a tiny bit. Maybe about a finger worth of glue. I'm going to open these little flaps up so they can touch it. See that? I put a little bit of glue in that corner so that flap can touch it. Perfect. Folded edge at the top. Glue closure at the bottom. Moving my gluing station. Bringing the book back in. Flipping it over. And I'm going to stick this pocket right in the little spot that I showed you. Just kind of manipulate it. Get it on there. Straighten it out best you can. If it looks a little wonky, that's okay. It's homemade. And look at us. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and burnish. We only stuck glue on those little flaps that we made and the very bottom of the pocket. So now when you come back, we'll have an entry point. See this? We're going to let that dry, and that's going to be a cute little pocket opening. Now let's make this little photo mat where we can set a picture on the front and back. Let's pull out another piece of printer copy paper and make a little bit of room again. Now this time with this one, we're just going to fold it in half, like this, hamburger style. And then we're going to fold it in half again. Just like that. Okay, so this is what it looked like before. It's going long, big, left and right. I folded it this way, and then I folded it this way. Perfect. Coming back with my marker, giving it a nice crease. I'm getting a brand new gluing station because I'm going to open all of this back up, and I'm going to add glue all on this side, just on this square and this square. And then I'm going to fold it over. We fold first before we glue, that way we have a nice straight line to follow. Everything ends up being pre-folded, so it's easier to fold over. Now I'm going to flip it like this. Remember how we folded it this way? I'm going to add a little bit of glue again on this little rectangle. On the edges and some on the inside. And then fold it over. Press it on. Now we got a nice thick piece of paper ready to have doodles. And this piece goes back into our book. How cute is that? Let's go ahead and make that tag now. I'm going to move my glue station out of the way again, bring back a new piece of paper. Now for the tag, we're going to need to have it go long ways left and right again. I'm just going to fold it just about part way like this. Kind of skinny like a tag. See that? Just if you can get your paper to look something like this. And we're going to fold it again. Like this. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just make any shape that you feel happy with. I'm going to crease it like that. Now we've got something that looks like this. And it's okay if there's a little bit of overhang. We will trim that off. You see that extra piece of paper? That's okay. Let's add some glue to this and this. So again, I'm going to bring back my glue station so I don't glue my table. There we go. Now I'm going to follow those fold marks that we made. Here's that first one. Here comes the second one. I know I got a little bit of glue there, but I'm going to go ahead and rub that off with my finger. We'll trim that in a minute. I'm going to get my marker and flatten everything out. Then I'm going to cut this straight away in half and chop off the excess hangover pieces. So I made 2 tags, and I'm going to stack these together and just trim the bottom off a little bit. I'm going to line up the tops, make them the same size. I'm just going to trim off just a little bit because it's a little bit too long. And that looks about right. Then I'm going to get the top corners. See how it's long like this? I'm going to just trim the corner just a little bit at an angle. Just a little bit to make like a tag shape. I'm going to do that with both of them. How easy. I'm going to move my little cute triangle pieces out of the way, slide my book back. And now I've got a cute, fun tag that's in there, and we'll doodle that in just a minute. You see how this is coming together? How sweet. And then this little tag goes in that big pouch pocket at the end. But I'm going to set this tag off to the side until we've completed this side. Let's move on to that cute little square right here. This little guy. You might even have a scrap piece. Let's go ahead and make that. Remember that excess piece we cut off when we were sticking on this piece of paper on the spine? Well, I've got one right here. And if you have something that size, you can go ahead and grab it now. Get a glue surface glue this little square on. And if you wanted to just make one of these, if you don't have one, just take a piece of paper and fold it like this, hot dog style, and then cut a square shape out of it. Not quite in half, but less than half. And then you'll have the piece that I have. So now that you did that, let's go ahead and fold this in half again. Long ways. Any direction, because it's pretty much a square. Now, in this orientation, I'm going to fold it closed, come back and cut a little square out of it. And this is a cute little area to stick another small photo right in there. That's how I made that. So it's an extra little flip. Now let's make this page. This nice big page with the flap. So I'm going to scoot the book out of the way and get another sheet of paper. Now, in order to make that page, I'm going to turn my page long ways up and down. And I'm first just going to cut off about 2 fingers of a width off. So if you want to measure with your fingers, you could put 2 here, make a little line. You could fold it on that line so it'll help you cut it straighter. Just taking off a tiny little bit. And another way you can measure this is by bringing your book down and seeing the height of your book. If you wanted to make your page the same height as your book, you can do that. Or if you want to make it a little smaller, you could do that too. I've got this little flap. I'm just going to trim him off because I don't need that much paper there. So I just took that little piece off. So he's all gone. Now I'm going to fold this in half. Just like this, from bottom, bringing it all the way to the top, meeting those corners. Then, this very bottom part, I'm just going to kind of fold it small and make a little flap like we did to that pocket. So I'm making just a tiny little flap like this and stick our page onto here. Now, if you're looking a little too long, you can always come back and trim it. Easy. Make it nice and straight as you can. Check if it fits. And if it does, then you're 100% bingo. I'm going to add glue all on the inside. It's always good to have a piece of paper under you so you don't glue your table. I'm going to glue all this in here. On the inside. And the edges and top. This part doesn't need glue since this one does have it already. So I'm going to fold it over. And flatten it out. Bring in that marker again and get everything nice and totally squished together. And you can come back with your scissors if you see a couple pieces that are misaligned. You can always trim them away. Now that we have this cute little flap, we can add some glue onto him and stick it right here. We want to make sure that this flap edge doesn't bump into that. So we'll stick our flap right about here. So this is what mine's going to look like. I'm going to get my little flap, only stick adhesive only on this little flap that we made. And once you got glue on it, it should look like this. See how it's pointing down? I'm going to line the edge of this with the edge of this. So I'm going to be on the spine of the book. And I'm just going to avoid being in that crease mark of where the book cover bends. You'll be able to see it. Once you get it on there, get your marker back. Give it a nice press on there. And now you got a beautiful little flap. You can even fold it over. Press it down on this side too. Make sure that adhesive doesn't stick. And look at us. We've got a book page. This looks awesome. Let's work on that flap that goes on here. Making a little bit of room again. Getting a brand new page. It's long ways up and down. I'm going to get the bottom, made it up to the top, make it as straight as I can. Again, creasing in the middle and then going towards the outsides. And then I'm going to chop off about 3 fingers of a width this time. So make a little line just right there. And I'm going to cut up right from there. So I just cut that little piece off. Now I can compare this. I'm going to twist it around. I can compare this to my little book. I want the flap to kind of expose the page underneath equally on all sides there. I think I might even cut along this bottom just a little bit more That looks good right there. Now I want to glue this together. Gluing surface under me. Sticking glue only in this square here. Folding it over. Burnishing. Pressing it really good. And now I want to make another flap, just like we did for that page. So you see the folded edge here? I'm going to create the flap on the other side. So I'm just going to fold it up like this. It's about a 1 finger distance of a fold. You can just measure with your finger. And then this flap is going to get the glue. Once you have glue on your awesome little flap, bring your book back in. And in this orientation where we've got the little flap facing that way, we're going to stick it down like this. So here's the flap. I'm tucking them back, lining this edge with the edge of that page that we put on our spine. So we can have a flap on top. See, my flap's a little bit too long, but I can come back and make a little pencil mark on where I want to trim it. So say I have this here and this distance here, and I want that same amount. So I'm just going to cut all this off. So I'm just going to hold it from here and chop it. See, now I got a shorter flap. Now I'm going to burnish it on with my marker. Now I've got a cute little flap that opens and a page that turns. How fun is that? We'll come back and make that corner pocket in just a little bit. So now let's turn on to the back and make that fun file folder pocket. Making some room again, bringing back a new sheet of copy paper, this time again in the vertical long ways position. I'm going to take the bottom, fold it to the top, and then take the side and fold it to the side. Your piece of paper should look something like this. So this corner, I'm going to go all the way over here and make a little nick mark like that. And then from this bottom left corner, I'm going to go up, kind of the same distance from here to here. I'm going to go up and make a little nick mark there. And then draw a line. And then I'm going to cut a straight line from here to here. I really should have glued this together first, but for now, that's what we got. Okay, so that's our little file folder pocket. Let's go ahead and glue it all together. I'm going to glue this whole bottom half. Getting the edges really good. And on the inside, here we go, folding it over. Everything should line up nicely. Burnish. Then I'm going to flip it over, since I want to fold it like this now. Put some glue on the other side. But we're not going to stick this pocket on our book yet, because we will have to decorate underneath it, which we are almost there. Look at us. Cute little file folder pocket. And we can erase our pencil lines. And if something didn't line up, we can always make a correction with our scissors. Now on our book, this guy's going to go here. But again, we're not going to stick him down yet because we have to put decorative paper back there, which we're going to start doodling in just a minute. So you see how I made this pocket? If you see what our leftover pieces were, here were all these little triangles. Let's glue these little triangles together where they match up. If I would have glued it first, these would all be together. But I had a little dorky moment, so I'm going to stick them on all together. So I'm just going to glue them one by one like we did the little cardboard cereal boxes. Just going to keep sticking them on top of each other. So now I've got a nice thick corner pocket here. And I'm also not going to glue this one on, but I'm going to let it dry. And then later, we're going to put this one in here so we can have a little tuck spot in there. So I'm going to stick him here, and I'll come back to him in a minute, but let's work on this very next page. So we made this pocket, tag, photo mat, and pull out. We made this page with a flip, and we made this corner pocket. We also made this awesome little guy here. Now we're going to make this. So let's get out another sheet of paper. This time, this one's going to be long ways, up and down. And we're going to do hamburger fold, just like this. And then instead of cutting it directly in half, let's make it a little bit bigger. Just a little bit bigger than half. Right there. Then I'm going to glue it together. Just like this. pressing it together, and on one of the long sides, you see how it's long ways like this? This long side I'm going to make a finger width. I'm just going to use my finger as an example of how big a flap to be, just like the other flaps. Make a little flap like this, add some glue. And now bring the book back in. Remember this page that we stuck down? Now we're going to stick this onto here. So look at yours, make sure yours is facing up and the sticky side is facing you and the flap is on the left side. Just going to stick them just like this. And you could stick them all the way up, all the way down, or even in the middle, wherever you want to put them. It's your book. You could do it however you want. Look at this. I'm just going to press them on. And then he's going to be able to fold and flip back and forth. See that? Look at that. Now we have 2 flips. Now let's work on this back cover. Now this one's easy. Let's go make some room again. Get a nice piece of paper out and do another hamburger fold. Long ways up and down. Let's get the bottom. Fold it to the top. Very similar to the way that we made that very first pocket on the front inside cover of the book where the tag is. Very similar to that. I'm going to bring in my book again and I'm going to measure with my finger that there's going to be a piece here. And then I'm going to overlap the cover because I want it to have flaps that tuck under so that we can shove our little goodies in there. It's going to be about this wide. And you can always measure your book because every book is going to turn out different. Since we're not using a ruler for this, there's overhang to this crease mark. About a 1 finger overhang here and about a 1 finger overhang here. I'm going to glue it together. I'm going to fold it right back the way it was. Burnish it on. Now I'm going to make that fold on that pencil mark we made. Try to make the same shape, width, skinniness of this flap on this side. Then we can match it up here and see the next fold I have to make is right about there. I'm just using the width of the cover as my example. Now, you guessed it, we're going to put tape on these little flaps right here. It's glue. I'm used to saying tape because usually I do use tape. The class where I use the official tools again is down in the description. You see I added a little bit of glue there and a tiny little bit at the bottom. About 1 finger thickness of glue. We don't want to glue way up here because then we won't be able to stuff anything into our pocket. So I'm going to go like that. Stick these flaps down. Your fingers will get a little sticky. Now the closure is at the bottom and our top is there. Let's line this up. Stick it on best we can get it. Kind of make adjustments here. And flatten it out. I'm going to go from the center and I'm going to flatten it out towards the outsides like this. And I'm going to burnish it on. Cute, we only have 3 more pieces to make and then we can start making our fun design paper and doodling with our markers. Now I'm going to test it out with this pocket, make sure I can open it. There we go. See how I can get all the way to the edge? If we were to just put glue here on the sides, we wouldn't be able to get to the edge all the way. That's what those tiny little flaps are for. See that in your pocket? That's fantastic. Now we need a little flap to close our little area. So we're going to make this flap right here. So let's go ahead and make a little bit of room again and take out another piece of paper. And let's start again. Hamburger fold. Just like this. And then we're going to go across in half again. Let's glue that all together. I'm going to use the leftover piece of this glue stick, even though it looks funny. I'm going to go in half just like that. And then my fold mark is trying to go this way. So I'm going to add the glue on this side. Folding in half again. Burnishing everything together. Now I got to go measure my piece. So if I were to have my flap like this, it'll fit perfect. Now let's do the folded edge being the edge of this. So on the other side that's not folded, where it's got all the different little shapes, let's make that the side where we've got a little 1/2 inch flap. Right there. Try to make it as straight and neat as possible. So your flap goes on nice and straight. You can even press it down like this. come back with your glue. Only on that flap. If you get a little bit on it, you can just rub it with your finger. Now, this little flap, adhesive down, is going to go like this. I'm going to line it up at the top of my cover of my piece, of my book. Press it down. Open it up, test it out. Press it down again. Now we've got a cute little working flap like this and a pocket inside. How fun is that? Let's make 2 booklets and then we can start doodling with our marker. So the last 2 booklets are super simple. It's just going to be a simple piece of paper. Again, long ways up and down, fold to the top, and fold in half. So we're folding in half 2 times. Just like that. Now you got a booklet. There's one. And again, fold in half up. And fold in half to the side. You can straighten everything out with your marker if you want. And then I'm only going to glue this section to here. So we have no glue here. That way it's a book. So we're only going to glue this part up. With no glue on the inside. Let's do that again one more time like this. Now we have a beautiful 2 little booklets that open up. How fun is that? I'm going to go ahead and stick them into our book, make a little bit of room here, bring our book in. The first little booklet is going to be located inside this file folder pocket, so I'm just going to put him and pretend he's there. And then this one, I'm going to stick in here. And now that we have this pocket, I'm going to bring back, see, I can kind of work it a little bit. I can bring back that other little tag that belongs in here. And how fantastic are we? Look what we did. It's so beautiful. You are doing great. Let's start doodling our own paper. I'm going to go ahead and scoot our cute little book out of the way. But before I get it all the way out of the frame, I want to bring in one piece of paper. And I'm going to kind of trace the top here and make a little mark of how big this cover is. So you can kind of see it through the paper. So I'm going to cut all this and make a shape that is the size of the cover. So let's do that first. So I kind of just laid my paper on there, made some marks with my pencil, and I'm just going to trim away. Now I want to make it a slight bit smaller so we have like a little border going around. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my piece and just trim a little bit more off on both sides, just like a tiny sliver here on the long edge and on the short edge. And then I'm going to take a peek and see if it has a nice border. And it does. So now I've got like a cute little border going around. See that? And if it's not straight, you can always fix it. And that's perfect. I love it. So now we have our template for the rest of our fancy little pages that we're going to be doodling. I'm going to cut out a total of 10 pieces that are the same size as this. So an easy way to do that is just to get a nice piece of paper and long ways going left and right. I'm gonna line these up just like this, fold it in half, and then I'm gonna set my piece of paper right on top and make a mark with my pencil. You could even trace on top. Just like that. And then I'm going to cut that out. And I'm going to do that until I have 10 pieces of paper that are the same size. It just makes it go a little bit quicker. So far I've got 3. So I'm going to keep going. And I'm gonna use that first template as my little guide to trace, just so my pieces end up the most similar with each other. The very first one I traced, I'm gonna use that one. Now normally for the official tool, instead of trimming with our scissors and tracing so many times, I would use a tool like this, which is a paper trimmer, which makes a perfectly straight cut every time. But today we're gonna be using some scissors. Now I'm actually gonna stack all these together and see how many layers I can cut at the same time, making sure that they stay right on top of each other. I'm really pinching pretty tight with my fingers here. I'm gonna cut through lots of layers, so I can get it done just a bit quicker. That's what that paper trimmer does. There it is. How fantastic are we? Look at us. Now I've got a total of 10 or 11 pieces, however many you have, to doodle. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I want to put a piece of paper underneath so we can get crazy with our markers. And I'm going to start out with one sheet and place it on top of here so we can start doodling. The first page I want to show you how to do is this stripe page, and it was just so easy and so fun. And I'm going to be using all the 4 colors out of the little collection of markers. First, I'm going to start with blue, and the reason why I have this paper behind me is so I don't get marker on my table surface, and so I can begin my stroke of the marker above the page so it reaches the very edge, so it looks continual. So I'm going to go ahead and take my little marker guy and do one strip of blue, and you can do this in any pattern you'd like. I'm going to keep my markers open since I'm going to be using them. So I'm going to do blue, and then I'm going to leave a white space and do red right next to it. The slower you go, the darker your pigment will be. The faster you go, the lighter, kind of more of a crayon effect of marker you will have. The next one I want to do is green. Again, a little white space starting from the top and going all the way down. You see how I'm going to pass that page and hit the paper under? Good thing it's not the table. There we go. And then I'm just going to keep going with each color in a little pattern. And you can really do this any which way you want. You can make the lines go this way if you wanted. You would just turn your paper and draw towards yourself. It's a lot easier to drag your whole arm than it is to just move only your wrist. So I'm pulling my whole arm towards my body, picking up the next color and repeating. Looks like I did the different color there. I ended up adding green by accident, so I'm going to go back to red. And it's okay, this is art. You can make it any way you want. You can add whatever colors you want, orange, purple, brown, black. But I just wanted to use these simple colors right here. Beautiful, and look how cute. We made an awesome little stripes page ourselves. How fun is that? We can cut into this in a little bit. I want to get out another piece and make a fun little polka dot page. And again, I'm gonna kind of just make random circles with whatever color I want. Maybe I'll kind of do something that looks a little bit like this. Just kind of space them out however you want, even get to the edge of the paper and start coloring sort of onto this edge so it looks like a real finished piece. See how I'm doing that? Kind of going off the edge a little bit. Now I'm going to get a different color and go in the spaces. This is so fun. I love it. You can make small polka dots, big ones, any way you want. Maybe the red ones will be a little bit bigger. Spread them around. Wherever you think there should be a little red dot, just put it there. You're the creator for this. You can make it any way. No one can tell you how to do it. Here comes the yellow ones. Now this polka dot paper is a lot smaller than my last one that I made. But look how cute. We can make a total different variety. Put them anywhere and everywhere that you want. If you think there should be more red, add them in. Cute. And you can make this as dense as you'd like or as spread out as you'd like. But so far, I'm really liking the way this one looks. So I'm gonna go ahead and set him off into the pile of the 2 pages that we made. How fun. Now I actually wanna make a clouds page. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in another one. And of course we know that the sky is blue and that the clouds are white, but I'm gonna use a blue marker and I'm just gonna make a little cloud shape, however you want. For this one, I'm gonna cap off my other markers since I won't be using them right now. And I'm just gonna make little cloud shapes, big ones, small ones, funny ones, long ones, skinny ones, baby ones. Look how fun. Any way that you want. Even some off the page, remember? Just act like it's just coming right off the page. Clouds come in all different shapes and sizes, and you can make them however. And look at that. Super cute clouds page, maybe a little bit of more, one right there. And unbelievable. I'm gonna add that in that pile. Let's go on to the next page now. Let's do the roses. This one's really super simple. I'm gonna go ahead and get my red. You can make any color rose that you want, but my leaves are going to be green and my rose will be red. Now let's just make a swirl anywhere on this paper. Let's start making a swirl like this. And you can make it as big or as small as you want. There it is. A little swirl there. And a little one there. Kind of space them around. Even off the page a little bit. And kind of hold it in place. There we go. Comes another one. Just a little swirl. How simple. See how that one's kind of coming off? So it looks like it just continues beyond this little page. Perfect. I'll do another little one right here. You can add small ones too. Beautiful. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my green marker and I'm just going to make a simple leaf shape. I'm just going to go from here and come back down like a little teardrop sort of. Just like that. Make a little line on the inside. Easy. And you could think of where you want to face your little leaves. Maybe that one's going down. Maybe this one's going to the side. Maybe this big one's going this way. Any way you want them. This one's going up. See how I can go off the page? Just dragging my hand just like that. This one goes like this. You make it up. Any way you want. The little ones get little leaves and the big ones get big leaves. I'm just trying to fill in that white space, so wherever there isn't, you see how there's nothing going on here? Maybe I'll face the leaves in this way so it looks like it fills up the page a little bit more. See that? This one is kind of empty here, so this big rose is going to get a leaf that kind of goes in over here. And then maybe this one goes like this. Then if you want to give another leaf to another rose, you can 100% do that. You can make up any rule you want. Look at us. And look at our cute little rose paper. Unbelievable. Now that we have the green marker in our hand, we might as well make the little leaf page. And I'm going to start sort of in the center and I'm going to make a leaf shape like this. And then one right next to it. So I'm going to curve over, curve back down, kind of like an eyeball shape. And then I'm going to start at the base of it again, do the same thing. And what if I maybe want to turn it this way so my leaves are facing a different direction? Maybe every single time I make one, I'm going to turn my page and make a different direction of it. See how I'm going off the page there? Maybe I want this one facing this way. You can just kind of play around. This one might want to go this way. This one's coming over here. This one's coming here. There's only one showing right here. Who knows? I'm going to put little tiny ones, only single leaf pieces, in the middle. See how I can just fill it in, the little tiny areas? I'm just going to fill it in with different sizes and shapes and directions. And then add in all our little lines if you want them. So here's our little leaf page. I'm going to put that in the pile. And then now I want to make a cute little solid page. So these are really fun. So I'm going to go ahead and get a nice piece again and bring it in. And I'm going to get my blue one. This could be any color you want. Maybe I want it to be a solid green this time. I'm going to get my green. I was just using it. And then I'm just going to color right over. Now you can angle your marker where you're touching most of the marker at this thick point here. Instead of directly at the tip, I'm going to angle my marker. I'm just going to go like this. Just color the whole page green. Going in the same direction. You can make some dark spots by going over the same spot, or make some light spots by only going over that spot once. Now we just made our own solid green page. How fun is that? I love it. Next three are going to be super fun. You can do this completely any which way that you want, but I think I want to make polka dots by just making dots. So I'm going to get the blue marker out, and I'm just going to start going straight up and down, lifting my arm over and over again, and spacing all these little polka dots around. And you can make this a whole rainbow sprinkle page as well. It doesn't only have to be blue. I think I might even do that for this one. How cute is this little confetti page? I love it. I'm going to do that a couple more times. You can even try all the four markers together like this to make it a little bit faster. And just kind of stamp it on. Maybe twist your paper around so you don't repeat the same thing too many times in the same spot. I'm going to take the red out. Looks like it's taking over a little bit. How fun! Here comes the last one. Ooh, my arm's getting a little bit tired. I'm gonna add a few more little red dots in here. Red's a pretty intense color, so it sort of takes over, so I want to add him a little bit separately. Oh, this one's my favorite. This one turned out really good. Look how nice and even that one is. That was a blast. Oh my goodness, are you ready to start sticking our fun little pieces inside? I'm going to cap off my markers, and then I'm going to bring the book back in. Now that we have all our fun little pages that we drew on and doodled, we can start decorating the inside of our book. And this is the part I'm super excited about. First, I'm actually going to get my book and do the front, spine, and the back. So these pieces should fit perfectly right on here. So I'm going to go ahead and get my glue stick and stick the first piece on. I'm going to use this as a background piece. I got a new glue stick since my other one ran out. I'm going to try not to wrinkle my page, so wherever I'm holding, I'm going to go the opposite direction of where my finger is, just so we don't get too many wrinkles. And then I'm going to stick this right on top of our book. And then line it up where we have a nice border, equal as we can get it. and kind of burnish it on the marker. Get the wrinkles out. You can even use your finger for that too. Now this is the inside of my book, so my book is not upside down. I stuck my first piece on. Look how cute, oh my goodness. Now with my pencil, I'm gonna measure another piece that I'm gonna put on the spine. So I'm gonna kind of just hold the spine right here, get my pencil, and make a mark where I think I could trim it. So I'm gonna connect those and trim off a tiny little piece there. Just gonna eyeball it. Cutting as straight as I can. You could fold it on that line and then come back and cut it if you wanted to. I'm gonna add some glue on him and stick him on the spine. Look how fun. I can come back and erase that pencil line in just a minute, but I'm just gonna put him right there. Super cute. Little sprinkle page right there on our spine. How much fun is that? That looks so cute. I love it. I'm gonna do the same thing on the back with this little sprinkle page. So cute. Now I'm going to open up the book, take my little pieces out of the pocket so I can focus on sticking things on in here. Now, first things first, let's go through our pages and find out which one we want here. I would love the stripe page to be here, but I don't need to go all the way down, so I can save some stripe paper. So I'm going to stick it in my pocket. You'll feel it go over those little flaps. As soon as it goes in, and make a little mark where to trim, then I'm going to cut straight. And then I'm going to stick them in that pocket. So I have a leftover piece for later. So I'm going to add some glue on the back of him. Our book's finally coming together. You're going to stick them in. You're going to feel that it goes over those flaps. Then you'll have time to readjust his straightness. So you have a nice border. See how fun? Oh my goodness. Look. How fun is that paper? Wow. Then I'm going to come back with my polka dot one. I'm going to lay it on top. And it looks like I have a nice border on the top and the left and right, but the bottom is a little too long, so I'm going to make a mark, kind of eyeball where that would be cut. Make a straight cut line. That looks good. I've got a leftover polka dot piece right there. I'm going to add some glue and stick it. See how fun this is? How this just comes together so quick? You are doing fabulous. I'm going to stick this cute polka dot paper right here. Fun. I'm going to burnish it on. Press it on with a little marker. You can even do it with the back of your fingernails. Just get that on there. Sometimes the corners don't get down, so might need to come back again with a little bit of glue. Stick it. Oh my goodness, how fun is this? I love it. Now I'm going to go ahead and open this flap, and I actually want the rose paper right here. I'm going to set my scissors on so that stays open. I want the rose paper right in here. He might be a little bit too big right now, but it looks like top and bottom is a perfect size for me, but if you need to trim it, go ahead. I'm going to look at the page size and kind of make it a little smaller. So I'm going to trim that off. Cut to my pencil line. If you ever need to cut a little bit more, you can always go back and trim more. So far that looks really good. So I'm going to get this stuck on. I'm going to use my book. It has a gluing surface. Since if glue gets on there, that's okay. I'm going to go in the middle of this page. I got the edges of my rose paper and I'm going to stick them on. It's coming together. Beautiful. Anyone who receives this, they won't even believe how you made this on your own. They're probably going to think, wow, how in the world? This is awesome. Beautiful. Now right here, I think I want like a solid green page. If you're feeling crazy like me, get your green marker now. Put a little paper underneath you so you don't color any other surface. Let's just make a solid right on here. You could choose any color you think that would go nice with this rose paper. We're going to stick a pocket right in here, so I don't need to go all the way to the corner. Now that I'm all colored up, I'm going to go ahead and get that corner pocket, remember? This little piece? I'm going to stick that right in this corner. So I'm going to glue only this part and this part underneath, just the edge. That way we have a little opening. So I'm going to do one long edge, that's straight, and one short edge. So now it's glued here and here, but not here. So now I'm going to stick them on my pocket. I'm going to stick them on my page. Burnish them on. And then I want to make another little polka dot little design. So I'm going to go with my red one so it matches my roses. Still keeping this page underneath to kind of protect anything else from getting marked up. How fun, now we got a cute corner pocket. My marker could have gone down just a little bit more there. That is super cute. Now on the front of this, I think I want to just make this a photo mat spot. So with another sheet of paper under, I'm going to go underneath this flap, get my red marker. You could use any color it is that you want. And I'm going to make a thick line right at the edge of this whole piece. On the top, and on the side, and on the bottom. Now that I did those sides, I'm going to swap this, put it underneath so I don't mark the bottom part. So I'm just making a nice little thick line. It's sort of like a frame, so they could put their photo right there. And you can make a little photo guy. All I do for that is draw a little rectangle like this. We're making a little camera, put a circle inside the rectangle, and then put the little flash spot. And that looks like a little camera to let the person know where to put their picture. How easy. We'll come back and cut around little flowers and different leaves and stuff and write some of our words. You see how I did that here? But for now, we're just kind of matting our book. So I'm going to flip this over. Now this part, I want to put this green page. Then we'll stick our, remember, our file folder pocket guy on here. But for now, I want to get this green page right on the back of this. I'm going to stick a green page in here, or any other solid color that you had. But if it's too long, a little pencil mark to indicate where you want to trim so that it fits right on your page with a little border. See how I have a border there? It's going all the way along the edge and the sides. Perfect. I'm going to glue them on. Perfect. Now we can stick our file folder pocket on. Now, just like the other little corner pocket, I'm going to make sure I only put adhesive here and here, but not on this area or these little small areas, just this part. I'm going to flip it over and add it right there, the bottom of the pocket and on the side. Then I'm going to turn it over, stick it right on top. Now you'll notice that the edge of the flap is right here of our page. When we turn it, we want to make sure that this pocket we stuck on isn't too far this way. Otherwise, we won't be able to open our little page. So I'm going to scoot it this way just a little bit. I'm going to burnish it on with our awesome little marker. There we go. And now I can stuff this wonderful little booklet inside. Now, if you don't like the way that looks, you can come back and make your booklet just a little shorter so it fits inside better. There we go. So you can kind of see the character around the sides. Now for this booklet, I think I want to make it colorful. So on the front, I'm going to set this page down here. On the front of the booklet, I think I want to bring out a different color. Maybe I'll bring out, I think I'm going to do blue first. So I'm going to go along the edges just like we did before. And on the bottom. So when we stuff it in, we got like a cute little blue guy. And then you open it up, we can decide the colors on that one. But on the back, I think I might want it to be red, so I can choose which side I want it on. Just using that wide part of the marker. So I'm angling the marker a lot so I can do that nice thick line. You could even go back over it a couple times if you wanted a little bit thicker. And we could decide which one looks better. I think I like the blue side. And then on the inside, I'm going to do yellow and then green. I'm going to do yellow right here. So I'm kind of veering off the original book that I showed you in the beginning of the class, because you can make these any which way you want. I'm going to doodle my little cameras right here. Rectangle, circle, and a little lump. Rectangle, circle, a little lump. Or you can leave it blank, however you'd like to do it. Now right here, I actually want to make polka dot paper right on top of this one. I'm going to do some polka dots like I did for this pocket right here, just so it kind of brings the polka dots back over here on this side. I think that would be fun. That looks so sweet. I'm going to go ahead and actually work now on this front and side cover again. I remember I have a tag, so let's do something fun with this tag. Tags normally have like a little area to put a piece of ribbon or something, but we're just going to kind of imitate. I think a nice color that would stand out would be red. So I'm going to make a nice circle towards the top, just like that. And then a small circle inside, but I'm not going to color that little circle in the middle. I'm just going to color on the outside circle and leave that circle white in the middle, so it looks like a tag, kind of like you see at the stores and stuff like that. I'm going to do the same thing on the back. Make a tiny circle and then make a bigger circle around that tiny circle and then fill in that. That one ended up a little tinier than I was expecting, but that's okay. Now I want to go around like a border, like I did before. So I'm going to put a piece of paper underneath. I'm going to do a little red border for this one. Turn my page and draw towards myself. That's how I keep a nice straight line. I just pull my whole arm, just like this. And it's okay if it's wobbly. That's what makes it awesome. And then on the front, I think I want to add some journal lines so someone can write a little story here. I'm going to just drag my hand here. I'm not going to go all the way to the edge of the paper. And I'm not going to complete every line. They're going to be different sizes. Then I'm going to leave some space at the bottom where I don't have any lines, and then I'm going to put little arrows, just for something fun. I'm going to stick that right in the pocket. Again, we have a cute little photo mat. I want to do a blue side. Again, a nice thick line. Look how fun. Turning it, dragging my arm, turning it, dragging my arm. The slower you go, the more it looks like a marker, and if you go a little bit faster, if you're running out of ink, it'll just look a little bit more like a crayon. And you could use crayons and colored pencils for this activity too. You don't only need to use markers. Look at us. This is fantastic. It's a little green one there. I put a little photo area so they know where to add their picture. Whoever's going to get this little book will know that they can put their little happy photo right there. I'm going to stick that back in. Oh, that's looking fun, fun, fun. Or does a green side? We could choose. Oh yeah, that's awesome. This little one here, I'm going to do borders on this too. As it's folded, I'm going to bring in the blue. Go along the edges. And I don't need to add a camera stamp on this one because it's so tiny. We're just gonna put a picture on it anyway. I'm gonna flip it upside down, give it a red side. And you can really pick whichever side you want to bend it on this side. It could be the green side or the yellow. You could bend it the other way and it can be red and blue. I think this looks fun. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You can crease it down a little bit so it stays down. Just kind of take your piece. There we go. Look what we've made so far. It's looking so cute. I think I want a little rose right here, so I'm just going to get out a cute little piece of paper here and then draw another rose. I'm going to do kind of a big one. And then right next to the big one, I'm going to do a little tinier one. Maybe medium size. And then right in this little area, I'm going to do a baby one. Right there. Maybe kind of round the big one off a little bit. See how I can just add to it? Then, I think I want a couple leaves on him. Let's see. Maybe a couple leaves right here. And then maybe some right here. I'm kind of laying it on my work surface over that flap so I can kind of see where it is. And I'm going to cut around it. This is what we call fussy cutting. So I'm going to consistently squeeze with my right hand, my dominant hand, and then I'm going to move my left hand and twist my piece to control where the scissors are going. So the scissors stay in the same spot, but my left hand is the one that's moving. See how I'm doing this? It's like I'm a machine. Just going to turn my paper with my left hand, keeping my scissors in the same spot. Just going to cut around the leaves roughly. And that looks wonderful. I would love to stick that little flower there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick that big portion in the corner. Then I have a happy little rose cluster with this little pocket. I want to turn this second page into like a Polaroid little picture. So I'm going to put a piece of paper in the back of the flap so I don't color anything else. I'm going to bring in my yellow. You could choose any color you want, but it seems like I need a little bit more yellow here. So I'm going to make a thick border. Just right about here. I'm not going to color on this piece, but you can if you want. The piece that connected to the spline. Then on the top I'm going to make a thick border too, but the very bottom is going to have the thickest. So I'm going to start right around here. And then I'm going to fill it in. Now I have a cute little Polaroid area. Bringing back my black marker, and you can use a pen or you can keep this without a little camera piece, but I'm going to put one on there because I think it looks cute. Then I'm going to go ahead and flip this. I'm going to do the same thing on the back, so I'm going to put a piece of paper to protect the rest of the book, just like this. And then maybe, what color do we want? I got a lot of green already, so maybe I'll do red this time. I'm going to make a border on the left and right, top, and the thick one at the very bottom. Perfect. I would love to stick some polka dot paper here. I do have some left that I think would fit perfect, and it does. You can even angle these little corners if you wanted to make it a different shape. You would just cut at a little angle, and then cut this at a little angle, just a little bit less than what you did. Try to imitate that same angle so they fit right on there. How cute. I'm going to glue it. How fun. Oh my gosh. And I think that that fantastic little cloud paper that we made would fit perfectly in here. So I'm going to measure that out just with my pencil. I'm going to drag this down to where I have like a border of that pocket showing. And then I'm going to get my pencil. It looks like it fits left and right because we measured. I'm going to cut that right on the line. I'm going to take my little guys out of here too. Hopefully they didn't get stuck down in there. Perfect. I'm going to glue that cloud paper right on top. Now that leftover piece of cloud paper will actually fit right up here. So I'm going to add some glue onto him too. Now I'm going to stuff this little piece in there. You'll feel it go over those little flaps, remember, that we made? I'm going to stick it right in there. Make it nice and straight with the other one. Both of them. I'm going to erase my pencil mark. And that looks cute. I think I want to come back again right here now and put this stripe paper in here. Holding it there, I can kind of see the angle, so I'm going to tuck my little scissors in there. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Look at us. We're just playing with paper. It might not fit all the way, but that's all right. That looks so cute. Look how fun. Now we can work on this tag. I think I really want like a green one, so I'm going to make kind of a circle, and again, color the circle around just a little bit like that. And on the back, maybe I'll make a blue one. And that looks so cute sticking out with that fun little tag. Oh my goodness. I want to make another little rose here. So I'm going to doodle kind of a big one. Maybe a little baby one next to it. And some leaves. You can put them anywhere you want. And then maybe a set of leaves by themselves. So we can put that on a different part of our book. And while we're here, why don't we just make a simple shape? Try this one. I'm going to start with blue. I'm going to leave myself some room right here. I'm going to make like a little triangle and color it in. Right next to it, I'm going to make a half circle. So like a U, and then I'm going to close the top, color it in, fix it if we want. And then right next to that, I'm going to make a little banner. So I'm going to do a little line, angled line, little line back up. So it kind of looks like this. And I'm going to cut those out, leaving a little white border around them. I'm going to cut straight across like this, at an angle, and again, only using my left hand that's moving. Cut around my little half circle and my little flag shape. So now we made like a little party banner. I'm going to cut around these two. Oh my goodness, how fun is this? Okay, so I'm going to stick this over here. And I think this rose would look perfect right here. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue to this flap only, and then stick that flower on. Add a little bit of glue in another spot that I think it should be, but just not at the bottom. But I have it kind of hanging off the flap. See how you can see it on the other side? Perfect. Now I'm going to flip this over, and I would love for this banner to be like this. So I'm going to get this glue. You're probably wondering, Francis, when is this ever going to be there? Well, here it's now, it's here. I'm only going to glue the very tips. So I'm only going to put glue at the edge right here, tiny little bit, and the edge right here. Just those two little pieces. And then I'm going to hang them at an angle. That way we can slip our photograph underneath. When this dries, these will still be left open. So I'm going to pinch them there just for a couple seconds till they solidify. And while that's drying, I'm going to flip over to this page, and I think it would be so sweet to put a little leaf down here. So again, I'm only going to add glue to the very bottom base of this leaf, right over here. Just a tiny bit, and I'm going to stick that right down there. So when that dries, we can tuck a picture behind. These will still be open. Now with one more piece of paper, let's make some Polaroid picture shapes, like I did in my other book here, where I've got one on the front cover, the inside of this pocket, and on the base page right here. And we can make them any color we want. So I'm going to get out another piece of paper here and fold it long ways, just like this. Then I'm going to fold it up. I'm going to come back with some glue, opening it all up, gluing just this section, just in half like this, flattening it all out. Now while it's folded like this, I'm going to chop off this end right about here. This will be extra for some other project. Then I'm going to cut this line. Now I've got two little Polaroid shapes. Now I'm just going to make one more, real super quick. Probably make this one just a little bit tinier since he's going to go in that corner pocket. And you can make these any shape or size that you want. See, this one will fit in here. This one will be glued down in here. And then this one will be glued on the front cover. How fun. So I'm going to add some color around it. Maybe I can bring out some yellow. I'm going to double side this one. Nice little Polaroid spot there. Super cute. I'm going to stick it in there. And then I'm going to make one that is red. Just single-sided for this one, since he's going to be glued down. Can add some glue right now, and then stick this one on our beautiful little book. How fantastic is this? I'm going to bring the book in and stick this right on top, and you can even angle it for funness if you want to kind of make it look more whimsical, like it's more of a little party. Fun things are happening here. And then if that's too much red, you could turn this one over and kind of put it on the blue side, so we've got all the colors going on, so you can mix it up. I'm going to make one more red one for the front cover. And I'll add him to the front in just a minute. Before I stick this one down, I want to make a couple more little banner shapes like this, and then write a couple sayings, make some leaves, flowers, and also one more set of these leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and get my green marker out, just on a scrap piece of paper here. And then I want to actually make another banner like the other one before. So a blue triangle. Then I'm going to make a big leaf just by itself. Really big, like this. And then I'm going to make another big leaf, maybe a little bit smaller, like that. And those are two separate leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all these out. Now you can cut these out separately, or you can keep them together like this. Now I want to get out some of this paper again, and I'm going to add a little bit of glue in a random little spot, just kind of a nice straight line of glue like this. Then I'm going to fold the paper onto itself, kind of make a little bit thicker of a piece of paper. Cut out that strip. And then I'm going to write something like a couple sayings. Happy. With an exclamation mark. Then I can cut that out. And maybe I want to make a banner shape. So what I would do is I make a little tiny mark like this and then angle it in. Make it like a little flag. See? And leave a little space around it. And then maybe I could put that in the front of the book. Look how cute. Happy can go there, banner can go there. Big leaf here, smaller leaf on the other side. It's all slipping around here. Kind of get an idea of what our front cover would look like. How fun is that? You can put the little glue cap underneath so you can look at it. So I'm going to glue some things on. I'm going to get this guy, add some glue on him, and stick it right on the front, nice and center. Put some adhesive on Happy. Stick it right over the top of this one. Get the banners. Stick it over the top like this, like they're kind of drooping like a birthday party. And I burnish that on there. I'm going to get one of the leaves here. Stick one going this way. Stick the other going this way. And then we'll do some roses on the top. But before we do that, I want to work on the inside just right in here for a minute. I'm going to keep this piece of paper that we made for our writing sayings. I'm going to flip on the inside of here because I want to stick this other leaf cluster right inside there. I'm going to use Elmer's glue for that on the back. Just a little bit of glue. Cute. Then I'm going to flip it over here. And then I think I want like a little saying on the back of this page. With this little words page and my little black marker. If you have a thick marker, that's okay. Just use the very tip. Maybe you can come up with something that says, "So fun." And I can make the banner shape on this side. This time I think I might want to make one that goes like a little arrow and then a flat edge on the other side. And I could stick that right here if I wanted. A little bit of glue. I'm just staying out of this white area. There we go. So fun. I have a little bit more scrap paper here, so I'm going to write the word memories. I'm going to add glue just right here on the red marker so we can have some room to stuff a picture underneath the word. Now I actually want a little bit more words right here. I think that would be super sweet. So I'm going to write, "What a perfect day." I'm going to use my glue stick for these ones. So I want to make sure my glue doesn't go all the way over there. I do kind of want "what a" hanging off a little bit. Perfect day. I just kind of want it to hang off just a bit too. Stick that up a little higher. And that looks so fun. Now we can start creating the roses to complete our little album. So I'm going to get out a sheet of paper here, and just about a 1 finger distance right here, I'm going to start ripping this little piece of paper, kind of like in a wiggle. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now that you have this long one, you got like a little curled piece of paper. I'm going to set that at the top. And then I'm going to do another long one. Just about as wide as your finger. Just a really thin piece. Not too wide like this. There we go. There's another one. And then on the short end, I'm going to go ahead and rip another one. Same way. It's okay if there's like some skinny spots or stuff like that. So it's totally okay if it looks like this. Perfect. Now, I'm going to get this longest one and I'm going to trim off just a tiny bit. like that. So I've got kind of a medium one, a small one, and the longest one. Now let's work with the longest one first. All I did to make that little rose was I got the end and I'm facing it this way. I put mine in my left hand and I squished it, and then I turned it on itself. Squished it, turned it on itself. And I just did that all the way down. Just a little squish and a little turn, twisting it onto itself. Then when I got to the end, I got my little Elmer's glue, opened it up, got that little tail end right there, added a little bit of glue, and curled it onto itself. And you might just have to hold it there for about 20 seconds until it catches on. You can give it a nice little pinch and open up your little flower. We'll shape it up a little bit in a minute. But there's that one. Then you can come from the bottom and push out the top a little bit. And you can find a little bit of that center that you made. See that? Just a very super simple little fun flower that we can make. So there's the large one. Now I'm going to make a medium-sized one. This one might be just a slight bit smaller. And when I get to the end again, get the Elmer's glue, hold it for about 20 seconds or so, pinch it onto itself, and push the center out. And you can kind of fold your papers back to kind of find it. Kind of just found it in there. We can shape it up in a minute. So this one's a little bit tinier, and then this will be the smallest one. I'm going to get my marker. You could choose whatever color you want, but I'm going to use red for this. And I'm just going to brush the tips. We actually have some roses in our front yard that look a lot like these ones. They're a little bit white and they have red tips. And you could even do this with red construction paper if you had some at home. But I'm just using the basic copy paper. And we're manipulating our pages and paper just with some markers that we might have at home. Cute. Now that we have all of our 3 little sizes, I'm going to bring my book back in now. And I want to stick them right on top of these leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and get the edge here. You'll notice you might have a little bit of edge going on where you can set the glue. Right here. Just on the ridge of that flower. I'm going to stick my biggest one first, and I'm going to come with my medium one right at the edges. Tuck them in there. I might have to press on them just for a second so they set in. My last one, my little small one. I'm going to leave those little leaves underneath exposed. I'm going to get my hand under the book here, kind of apply some pressure for about 20 seconds. Now if you wanted a different style of leaf, you can always come back. Make a leaf shape, color it all the way in. 2 big ones. Cut around it, right to the edge. Depending on what style you want to go for. Then you can get the leaf and kind of pinch it right at the tip and make a shape. Where it's like it's kind of folded. You could stick that in there, pinch it. And then I stick my finger in this little groove area. Kind of flatten it out like this. So now we got a cute little leaf if you wanted to do a couple little extra leaves. So then you would just glue them on. Preferably underneath, or if you can tuck it in there next to your rose, that'd be perfect. If you stuck these underneath, that would be awesome too. But this also works. You want a little bit of a shorter leaf. You can just rip a little piece off and then tuck this little guy in there. And he's still kind of wet, so I'm going to lift this rose, give him some more. Stick that leaf underneath. Stick the rose back on. So I just showed you 2 different techniques on how to make leaves. You can do the flat ones that you just draw, Or you could do the three-dimensional ones by just cutting them out and then kind of pinching at the ends there. And you can kind of fluff them up and move them around once they dry. One more little camera doodled right there, and look what we made. I cannot wait to see yours. Be sure to share them with me at yourbookofmemories@gmail.com. Thank you again so much for hanging out with me. I have had an absolute blast. And you know what? If you wanted to make another one of these books using official tools, go ahead and check out the free class down in the description. I would love to see you over there. You have done awesome. I'll see you in the next class. Bye.